Hello and welcome to a look at Forbidden Forest for the Commodore 64, a game that was released by Cosmi. Now, instead of doing what I normally do, which is tell you about the plot, I will read up a passage that should explain the plot infinitely better than I could hope to do. Deep within the creepy, scrolling forestscape you go, only a bow and arrows to defend yourself against the horrific creatures on your quest to defeat the evil Demogorgon. Day fades into night as you go further, tackling giant spiders and frogs, skeleton swordsmen, dragons, snakes, and phantoms. The atmospheric music adds to the all-pervading sense of doom as you try to survive the horrors of the Forbidden Forest. I know that probably called for an attempted voice acting thing, but anyone watching my videos with semi-regularity will know that it is something I employ very sparingly, because I honestly find it embarrassing to do. Regardless, as you may have gathered from the spiffy story kind of thing, you are in control of an archer who managed to get himself too deep into the Forbidden Forest. Now, the Forbidden Forest is called the Forbidden Forest for a reason, because it's filled with creepy crawlies. Most of them quite dangerous. Correction, all of them quite dangerous, like these bumblebees. Yeah, they're bumblebees, don't question it. Exploding ones even. And of course, the only way for our archer friends to actually survive the experience of being in the Forbidden Forest is to go all the way through it. Hopefully, towards the end, defeat the Demogorgon and be let out of the Forbidden Forest and live happily ever. No, the game repeats. He's trapped here forever. Let's just do the technical aspect first, because then it's done. Graphically, I think we can agree that Forbidden Forest doesn't look particularly amazing. It actually looks quite blocky, and I'm not going to use negative terms because it doesn't deserve it, but let's just say it could look a lot better than it does. That being said, everything moves surprisingly smoothly, and the game could be flickering an awful lot, but it doesn't. The various different enemies look perhaps laughably silly, and they do, but they do have a certain sense of eeriness to them. I don't know whether it's the simplicity that makes your imagination having to go on overtime to produce the end result, and I just happen to have a hyperactive imagination, but despite its lack of excellence, the graphics are definitely very atmospheric. The sound design, well, the sound effects are a bit harsh, a bit in-your-face kind of sound effects, and the same goes for the music. Not exactly later 80s, early 90s Commodore 64 music, but you know what? Again, I have to say the same as I had to say with the graphics. Not excellent, but very atmospheric. The controls, they can be a bit wonky. The base controls are rather simple. You move left to move, move left to move left, move right to move right, and press the fire button to ready an arrow. That's something you have to do manually. And then when you are ready to shoot, you can see at the sides, if you pay attention, there will be an aiming indicator even that will go up and down, and it is reversed, so you pull back on the joystick to raise the aim, and that will define the line at which your arrow will travel. That's all the controls you need to be concerned about. The interface, I can cover that now because there's very little interface to cover. Button left you score, button center around your character is your quivers of arrows, and if you run out of arrows you're boned. Well, you'll die and you'll get a refill, but it's just there to give you an indication that you have limited ammunition. It's not super limited, you have to whiff an awful lot of shots, try to run out, but there you have it. And of course the high score, which is, in case you weren't aware, the highest score being scored for the given PlayStation. I'm sure you're very, very happy that I explained that to you. The gameplay is run left and right to get in position to shoot whatever it is you're trying to shoot, and then shoot it. Simple. Why do I consider this game a classic when it is not particularly pretty, doesn't sound particularly great, the controls are okay, and the gameplay is rather basic? Let's bear in mind that this game was released in 1983, so that would have made it a very, very, very early Commodore 64 game. The gameplay compared to more modern games, even in the mid-late 80s, is perhaps a bit simplistic, but at the game's release, this would have been absolutely epic gameplay. And of course, the atmosphere of this game, it is, maybe it's just me being nostalgic, I don't know, but in my opinion, it's always been extremely thick. I remember playing the game the first time, and I wasn't necessarily as young as it could have been, but the spiders weren't particularly scary, but there was something extremely creepy about them, eerie about them. And of course, when you have the skeletons stabbing you several hundred times in your chest while you are wiggling away in agony, when you're being dissolved by the worm's acid, that kind of stuff, it just adds so much atmosphere to this game. And that is undoubtedly why I would consider this to be a classic, because I'm sure that anyone who's played this game, they will remember having played it. By the way, the final boss with Demogorgon, you can only see it when the lightning strikes, so it lights up the sky, and you have 60 seconds to kill the Demogorgon, but whatever. Anyway, the game loops. Right. But the fact that the game is memorable is reason enough to call it a classic. Just as I was saying when I covered Aztec Challenge, it's the gameplay, despite the fact that it's simple, that actually makes the game. And I think it's fairly obvious that the other aspects of the game may not be particularly impressive, but there is something about this game, just like there was with Aztec Challenge. Because I'm a bit wonky, I'm just going to showcase crazy difficulty level. Everything moves faster, you have to kill a lot more stuff, but it's the same game. My conclusion of Forbidden Forest has to be that, yes, it's incredibly not pretty, it doesn't sound particularly great, but when it comes to atmosphere, it has bucket loads of it. And that's good enough to make it a classic. On that note, thanks for watching, take care, see you next time, bye bye for now.